Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Guapish Rule 34. My name's Jackson, I'm your host as always, and of course I've got my special guest, Tanner, with me today. How are you doing on this lovely evening?
Dude, I cannot wait to go insane and fight a demonic biker cult.
Dude, I'm thinking the exact same thing. Know who's not thinking that? My co-host, not my special guest. He's actually a co-host, unlike Tanner, Nico.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm not excited to do that. I'm sad. I'm very sad today because Dylan's gone. He's not here, which has got me in a really sad mood. And, because of that I figured, hey, if we're all sad and we're crying and such, I figured we may as well talk about, maybe some music that has caused us to cry in the past, you know? Do you guys have any solid examples of that? Tanner, for example, just throwing you under the bus here. You got any fun songs that made you cry?
I do have two. One, you helped me remember earlier, which is the song BMO sings at the finale of Adventure Time.
Boo! I hate that song. Fuck you, Rebecca Sugar, and also I hate what they did to BMO in the later seasons. Boo!
They made him a lesbian.
Yeah.
Nico's just fucking cringe, guys. But then this one was super random, because I think I was listening to a podcast, and the podcaster was like, what song makes me cry? This random, one. And I'm like, that's interesting. And then I listen to it, and I fucking start bawling my goddamn eyes out.
What song is it?
I need to remind myself of the title. I remember who it's by. I want to say it's called Monsters by James Blunt.
I think you're thinking of the Skillet song.
No.
Oh. That one is pretty sad, though, to be fair.
Yeah, the song Monsters by James Blunt. I don't know why, but, I randomly listened to that, just kind of on a whim, and it hit me really hard, and I started fucking just falling to pieces, I tell ya.
Damn. So I guess, some criteria we might want to talk about here real quick, because Tanner, you are very much so the steel, cold-hearted individual of Guapish here today. Nothing makes you cry, nothing creeps you up on the edge like Jackson and I.
Creeps you up on the edge.
Yeah. We are fucking emotional little balls of tears, so...
And yet, I've never seen you cry.
Dude, you've seen me cry when I eat food. It's just such an emotional experience for me. So we're talking about, songs that made us cry. Are we talking about, just, tearing up and, some tears flowing down our faces? Or is it, full-on, bawling or something like that?
I mean, my two examples were one of each of those. So.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough then. Jackson, how about you, dude? You got any...
Well, if we're just talking tears, every song I've ever listened to. No, but yeah, like Nico mentioned, I cry pretty easily when I'm really into something. It doesn't even have to necessarily be something sad. I can just be really into a song and be like, damn, this is fucking sick. And I just let, shed a little tear because of it. Because I just think it's so fucking sick. There's a lot of songs that fall in that category. There's too many to list. It is what it is. It's just who I am. But for some songs that actually legitimately make me cry, I think the easiest example, this is an absolute layup, and this has also been the case for the last 8 years, has been the fucking Dongo song from Clanad. That shit fucking breaks me every time.
That shit does go hard.
It's just some fucking kid's nursery rhyme, basically, or a fucking bedtime song. Lullaby is the word I'm thinking of. But it has such an important context within the show. And it's used in so many heartbreaking scenes within it that every time I hear that song, all I can do is just think about all the stuff that happens in that show, and it just makes me want to fucking bawl my eyes out. That's an absolute layup one. Another one, this one's kind of cheap. This, I guess it is a sad song. It's, has it's got a motivational kind of theme to it with a dark undertext. It's Prover by Millet. That song, I don't think would make me cry in basically any context except for it was just a perfect storm type thing. I was reading a manga, just listening to music in the background, and it was near the end. It was of Jugoku Raku, aka Hell's Paradise, and it's I'm not gonna fucking spoil it, but there's some emotional stuff going on. And basically, what was happening within the manga. In terms of the lyrics, they connected pretty well with the song. So I've got this really powerful sounding emotional song playing in the background as I'm reading this really fucking emotional part of a manga, and it was just a perfect storm. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, and yeah, I started crying from that. Outside of that, I don't really have any other really obvious examples though, I don't think. Except for like some like other emotional songs, like fucking My Last Day by Yornis. That song kind of makes me tear up if I listen to it, and I haven't listened to it in a bit, just because it's a really sad fucking song. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else really.
Dude, I'm currently reading through Hell's Paradise, so I might need to give that a shot once I get to that section you're talking about. I guess, like, for me, the biggest one I would say is Weight of the World, the end credits song for Nier Automata. I believe I've told you guys about this previously, but that shit just fucking rocks my socks every time I listen to it. It gets me all weepy-eyed and everything. I just fucking start wailing. So it's definitely less of a sad song, and more so just because, like, you know, the message for it is so beautiful, man. Like, the song, it starts as this just girl singing about how she's losing hope, but that even if it's all pointless, even if she's just going to be alone in this world, alone, I guess, she's still going to keep trying to make the world a better place, because, you know, maybe she just keeps believing, then that dream will become reality at some point, you know. All the while, there's just some light instrumentals softly playing in the background. And the singer does such an excellent job conveying this longing in her voice, you know, where even though it's just such a simple message at the end of the day, you can really resonate with it. But, like, you know, the voice changes eventually. And no longer is it this girl singing in English. Now she's singing in a different language. And then shortly after that, there's a different girl singing in a different language. And it just happens again and again. But, like, you know, notably, they're not singing together. That's the big part. None of them are singing together. It's just one person right after the next. And it's like, you know, these people are all expressing the same sentiment. They all around the world. They're wanting the world to be a better place. But alas, their voices just can't, like, quite reach each other. But then, it all crescendos, all yearning, it comes together as a choir joins in, and all these different voices are all joining together to spread the same message. It's just so damn good, dude. It's fantastic. And just the gameplay of the section as well. Like, we're not even talking about the song anymore here, boys. The gameplay, it mirrors this entire song perfectly as well. Because if you didn't know, the entire end credits for Nier Automata is a massive bullet hell section, alright? It is an impossibly difficult one at that. And the feeling of attempting to overcome this insurmountable odds is, like, you know, that you're hearing in the song is also something that you're feeling in the gameplay itself. With each death that the player receives, you get a new message, okay? You get one that's, like, you know, encouraging you not to give up. And as you die more and more, you get more words of encouragement of various languages and such. People around the world are trying to, like, help you out here. They're trying to tell you to keep going, to just keep going, until finally, after Lord knows how many times you've died, you receive a new type of message, one that's asking you if you would like some help. And upon accepting it, you're no longer just fighting alone. Suddenly you have this whole fleet by your side, boys. This is the moment where all of those voices join in the song. It's just this fucking sweet moment where you just start sweeping through all these enemies and shit like that. It goes to show that even in the darkest, it's so over, shines the brightest, we're so back.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I love Nier Automata. It's my favorite game. That's why it's the best ending of any game ever.
Maybe I'll play it.
Is
one
that
day.
your favorite game?
No.
Okay.
Like, you know, it's top 3 for sure, though, man.
It's right behind Minecraft.
Yeah. That's definitely the biggest one for me. Similar to Jackson, though, there are a shitload of other songs that just, like, make me cry whenever I hear them anyway, though. There are a couple by, like, Will Wood. I think it's called, If I Did, You Deserved It is the name of that one. That one absolutely makes me cry when I hear it. There's also Bones, I think, is another one of his. There's also Last Kiss by Pearl Jam, if you guys know that song. It's very understandable why that one is a bit sad, you know? It's about a guy reminiscing about the time his fucking girlfriend died in his arms. Very, very sad.
Yeah, I actually have 2 more examples as well. Tanner, if you're going to talk about something that he was referring to, I think you should probably say that first, though.
No, it's just he reminded me of one that's gotten me teary-eyed as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, 2 came to me when he was talking about that, which weren't related to anything he said, but they just, like, came to me. One of the earlier Vocaloid songs I listened to, I still like Vocaloid a lot, is Odds and Ends by Rio. That song has a very, like, sad undertone, but it's about, you know, like, determination and perseverance through, like, hard times. I listened to that song a lot in high school when I was, like, unironically depressed, and that shit went fucking hard. That shit still makes me tear up a little bit to this day.
Dude, it's always the worst feeling when it's like a Vocaloid song or like a Nightcore that makes you cry.
It's a really good song, though. Don't fucking put down Vocaloid like it's in the same tier of Nightcore, you fucking dick.
They're one and the same in my mind.
They're not. They can have very, like, Nightcore is straight up just, like, songs that are fucking pitched up and sped up. Vocaloid is, like, a whole ass, like, genre of music that, you know, encompasses another large genre of music. Anyways, the other one, this is a more recent one, but should be pretty obvious as well if you know anything about me, is the song Answers by, fucking, is it Masayoshi Soken that made the one? I'm honestly not sure. It's the Final Fantasy song. It is used all the fucking time in the game. It was used in the cinematic trailer for A Realm Reborn. It was used all the time in fucking the Endwalker expansion. Like, there's like a really important cutscene. I'm fucking getting a little like shaky voice just talking about this song because I've got like playing in my fucking head, to be honest. But yeah, there's like a ton of like a really emotional cutscenes that play that song. It's super fucking cool. It's like a really big leitmotif in a lot of other songs too. Like, you can like hear Answers playing and it like makes you want to fucking tear up just from like it being like a subtle part of another song. It's super fucking cool, especially if you've, you know, gone through the whole story of the game. Especially because this is something cool about the song. When you're first listening to it, you could kind of contextualize the lyrics to be about yourself, like your Warrior of Light's journey and who they are. But then as you go through Endwalker and you, or I guess even like Shadowbringers, the second to last expansions before the new one that just came out, you recontextualize the entire fucking song. Like, when you're listening to it after that one cutscene I was talking about at Endwalker, you realize the song is not about you, even though, of course, you can look at it that way. It's actually about something completely different, and it's super fucking cool. And, like, it's hard to even, like, look at the song the same way. It, like, adds a completely other level of depth to it, to, like, an already really incredible song.
I do definitely always love it when songs do that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I love that shit. Anyways, Tanner, go ahead.
The one I got reminded of is Hurt, the Johnny Cash cover.
Oh, gotcha.
That one gets me to tear up a bit. Although I'm kind of a sucker for that kind of... So, like, the two main ones I thought of are very emblematic of stuff that tends to get to me, which is, like, father-son stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That pretty reliably gets to me. And then, like, old man looking back on his life stuff. That tends to get to me as well.
From what I've heard, from like some fucking study that was conducted, like the number one like sort of theme that makes men generally cry is father-son.
That's kind of based, though. That's a big part of why I think Clanad really resonated a lot with me, too. It was just the relationship between Tomoya and his father. It's like a big encompassing theme of it, and I think it portrays it really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're definitely...
What was it for women?
The same thing.
It was just everything.
Yeah, exactly. Everything makes them cry. I guess there's like branch out from specifically songs here. Are there any like particular like pieces of media that you guys can look back on and like, okay, yeah, that shit fucking made me weep?
Oh, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
I've got a super random one.
Yeah.
Again, related to father-son stuff. There was... I would have been maybe 11. This was back when I was living in Lincoln City. And we were watching an episode of whatever Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show was, you know, active at that time.
Yeah.
And it was just some random one-off episode where some, you know, low-level crook, like, befriended a robot made by, like, the villains or something.
Uh-huh.
And then the robot, like, falls into a trash compactor, and then it goes like, "Father, no!" And then gets fucking crushed to death, and I start bawling my fucking eyes out. And my mom's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "The robot in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and its father?" And I was quite distraught over that one.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, actually. Is that fucking, like, mask robot or whatever?
Yeah, I remember, my brain has me remembering it as having, like, an old CRT TV as its face. I don't know if that's true, though.
Yeah, it initially has some masks or whatever, but then it, like, fucking absorbs a bunch of, like, technology and, like, a garbage dump or whatever. Like, it absorbs a bunch of TVs and shit like that, and its head gets replaced by one of those, yeah.
Gotcha.
Alas, it didn't make me cry, though. Fuck you, baby Tanner.
And let's just get him out of the way. All those fucking commercials about trying to get you to donate to animals in third world countries.
Yeah.
I don't cry at propaganda.
But they're so sad. Look at the sad puppies in cages. They're so sad.
They're the ones who put them in those cages for the commercial.
this is also going to be kind of a random one, but it falls in line with the, father protecting his children sort of thing. Have you guys heard of a little game called Asura's Wrath, or Sura's Wrath, whatever it's called? Yeah, the fucking ending to that shit goes so fucking hard. It's just this amazing moment of you fighting literal God because he made your daughter cry. It's just so fucking cool. I love that shit. But also, there's a little show I've been watching recently that has made me cry on multiple occasions. It's probably the single show that's made me cry the most, even more than Clanad, which may shock you. It is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Because, it's most of the time
Why don't he want me?
Most of the time it's just, this fun comedy, you know? But, at the same time, you're spending so much time with these characters, getting to know them, and it just makes the situations feel all the more real when these terrible events befall them. There's an episode where Will gets shot that's super emotional. There's, of course, the very well-known one of Will's father coming back into his life and then ditching him. That is the most fucking heartbreaking thing I've ever seen, probably. Just like I said, these are characters who you love, okay? You've gotten so close to them, and the acting is fantastic. So when these terrible things happen to them, it just breaks your fucking heart, man.
True.
Anyway, time for me to talk about Clanad for the next half an hour, bitches. Yeah, I'm not very subtle about it being my favorite piece of media ever. And I remember the first time watching it, I'm talking full on, I was crying like my fucking dad just died in my fucking arms type shit. I was sitting in my fucking bed just bawling my eyes out watching that shit for 4 episodes straight. I have very vivid memories of that. And I remember my mom being in the room next to me and she's probably what the fuck is going on with my kid right now? But yeah, that shit was fucking brutal. The final few episodes of the second season are insane. But still, every time I watch Clanad, it is impossible for me not to cry, basically every single emotional turning point. The show just does a really good job building up the characters, I think in a very realistic way with their relationships. I think all the characters have a lot of depth, which adds to it too. They're all very individual people, which gets you really easily attached to them, especially of course the main characters, Tomiya and Nagisa. I fucking love their relationship. They go through so many hardships, and I think it just presents them really fucking well, and it's hard to not cry at every single time I see them.
Yeah, you shared Clanad with me at one point, and I gotta say, that shit absolutely fucking wrecked me as well.
It's fucking brutal. Some of those, the final stuff, specifically, some of the things that get me the most, because I will watch, I'll see, some random Clanad clip on YouTube, and I'm okay, I have to fucking watch that, and I weep at every single fucking one I watch. But there's one specifically, it's the one where, God, fuck, I get fucking shaky throat every time I try to even talk about this goddamn scene. It's the fucking one where Ushio was looking for her toy in the flower field.
Oh yeah,
that shit is just fucking brutal. She's looked just for some context, Ushio is his daughter of his wife who passed away. And she's looking for a fucking robot toy that he bought her. This is the first time. He's taking his daughter on a trip. He hasn't fucking been in her life since his wife died, basically, because he just couldn't take the emotional turmoil of it. He's taking her on a trip. She's looking for a toy. She can't find it. He comes up to her and he's why are you looking for it? Let me help you find it. I'll just buy you another one. And she tells him that she's looking for the toy specifically because it's the first thing he ever bought for her.
Yeah.
And then, I'm fucking crying even talking about it, god damn it!
Dude, I'm just tearing up remembering that scene.
It's fucking brutal. And then she goes and gives a spiel of, the people that have been taking care of her, Nagisa's parents. She gives a spiel of the fucking mom saying the rules of when she can cry. That being, I think it's when she's in the bathroom, when she's alone in the bathroom, or when she's in her father's arms.
Yeah.
And then of course he hugs her and she just starts fucking bawling and it's brutal.
That one was super rough.
Oh my fucking god, dude. It's hard to even get the sentence out. Tanner, you need to watch fucking Clanad, goddammit.
But dude, he saw the one scene where they were hanging out in a basketball court or whatever, and he's man, this isn't for me.
It's not my genre, man. What do you want from me?
I think anybody can appreciate Clanad. I don't think it's even a genre thing. I think it's just a really cool, touching story.
I think it's just that you're not open enough, Tanner. You're too close-minded, dude. You have a heart of stone. You can't open yourself up to these beautiful experiences.
That's right. That's me.
Anyways, Final Fantasy XIV obviously is another one. That shit's really fucking emotional. Some shit in Shadowbringers, even like in like a Realm Reborn and Heaven's War and Stormblood, some of like the weaker content, which is still really good. But primarily some shit that happens in Endwalker and the Shadowbringers expansion just fucking destroy you. It's super fucking cool. It's there's like really hype or it's like some really low lows. It's fucking awesome. It's presented super well. That shit definitely made me cry many times going through it.
Speaking of Square Enix games, though, the only other one that's like obviously jumping out to me here is Kingdom Hearts 3, okay? When I finally got to the ending of that game, just seeing all these characters finally get their happy endings after fucking 50 games of just going through fucking hell, okay? It finally took a big old weight off my chest. I was like, fucking finally, they can just be happy. And it was just such a touching moment for me, you know?
Well, do we have anything else we want to bring up there?
Any other moments that made me cry?
I was gonna say I could fucking bring up like a million different like random anime that made me cry, but I'd be here all day.
Fair enough.
Oh, dude, the fucking scene in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood when Hughes died, and they're at his fucking funeral, and it's like his daughter saying, "Where's Daddy? What are they doing to him?" and all this other shit, and the wife is just fucking crying because she doesn't know how to fucking tell her daughter that her father's dead and never coming back. True. I think that was the first scene in anime that made me cry.
That show's like, holy fuck, anime can be this badass.
Right?
Okay. Let me do a bit of a palate cleanser for us here.
Yeah, let's lighten the room a little bit.
We're gonna lighten the mood. We're gonna lighten the mood with a very old topic I've had sitting in here. Should strawberry really be considered a default ice cream flavor? I say no. I think the fact that people are like, oh yeah, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry is bullshit.
You know what, Tanner? I think I can agree with you on this. Yeah, I don't fucking know anyone whose default flavor for ice cream is, strawberry. That's my favorite.
I think my mom maybe goes for strawberry more than the other two, but that's about it.
I think especially because it just feels like so much different from the other two. It feels like kind of out of left field, you know?
I think, let me be a fucking strawberry ice cream defender. I don't even like strawberry ice cream. Let me preface that. I think it's okay. But, like, we're just talking about, like, when we're talking about default ice cream flavors, we're talking about just generic stuff, right? So we've got chocolate, we've got vanilla, and we have strawberry. And I think they work pretty well because, we've got the plain flavor, quote unquote, fucking vanilla. We've got chocolate, which is, our fucking chocolatey flavor, and then we have a fruit flavor, which could just be realistically anything. I think a fruity flavor is very different from like a vanilla or like a chocolate flavor, and they're just like three different pieces of it. I don't know what else it would be. Like when I think of like vanilla, that could be like either chocolatey or vanilla. Or what did I say? Did I say vanilla? When I think of mint, I think it could either go like either chocolate or vanilla. In like what camp it'd be, but it's definitely not like a fruity kind of thing. Fruit is definitely very different from the other two, and I think vanilla is different from chocolate, and chocolate is different from vanilla. So I think it's like a nice, it like adds a lot of like variety within the default space, if you will.
I'm of the opinion that there would be no replacement. We just say that vanilla and chocolate are the defaults. Like if someone asks you, "Hey, do you want some ice cream? What flavor are you anticipating?"
Vanilla.
Dude, I'm anticipating some fucking fish food ice cream, that flavor from fucking Ben & Jerry's. Give me one of those, boy. That's what I want. But I think I have to come down in the middle between the two of you. I am hard against the idea that strawberry should be one of the defaults, especially considering I am of the faith, okay, that fruit does not belong anywhere near desserts. However, unlike Tanner, I do not think that we should just fucking completely void the idea of a third default flavor. I do think that something needs to take its place. There's a power vacuum that opens up there that needs to be filled, okay? And I do think that mint chip ice cream would be that flavor that fills it.
My thing is, like,
it already has chocolate, but
exactly. No, yes, that's Don't say that in your retard voice. That's a good point. It has chocolate in it.
Dude, I'm using it in a voice to fucking condemn the idea that it's not a good idea.
I think mint would be... I think it's like the first thing that came to my mind when I was thinking of like what the other third would be. But yeah, like I said in my spiel, I think you could compare too much to like vanilla or chocolate for it to be like something different enough to fill that space.
Listen, here's my argument for why they're the defaults. It's because, like, when you get more advanced flavors, they are the base of them. When you have shit like, you know, peanut butter flavored or Rocky Road, those are made using chocolate ice cream with stuff thrown in. You obviously have, you know, tons that are just vanilla with extra shit thrown in, like cookie dough or fucking whatever the fuck. I can't even think of another one because I'm stupid. But, like, are there any sort of spin-off flavors of strawberry ice cream where you're just throwing some shit into the strawberry?
Strawberry cheesecake.
I don't think so. That's fair enough. But isn't strawberry cheesecake usually vanilla with like chunks of cheesecake shit in it?
Overton window.
That doesn't even...
What?
I don't think you know what that means.
Dude, it's just like the fucking ideas that the general populace is interested in at any given time.
Okay, that's slightly more correct, but yeah, that's my reason for why it would be solo chocolate and vanilla, because they're the base. They're what, you know, a lot of other flavors of ice cream spring out of.
I see where you're coming from, Tanner. But I vehemently disagree. I think that, you know, that something has to take the place. I'm hard against the fact that, say, you can just completely remove something from a trifecta and have it not affect the general world at large, okay?
I think that most people have already, though. I feel like 90% of the time when I go somewhere that has ice cream and there's default flavors, it's always just chocolate or vanilla. I feel like the third one of strawberry, whatever the fuck else, is very rare, in fact.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, if we're gonna entertain this strawberry needs replacement, I'd lean towards maybe like a sherbet.
Yeah.
Perhaps, or a
but
sherbet if you're fancy.
Sherbet fucking sucks, though.
You're right. Well, you're wrong. I like sherbet.
I also do.
You guys are. I mean, Nico, your fucking point's invalid because you don't like fruity shit in dessert. Tanner, I'm more inclined to trust you on your opinion, but like it's still weird.
How about we just like meet in the middle here, okay? And by in the middle, I mean just like nowhere near any of this, just like on the moon or something. Let's meet on the moon and say the third default flavor is just frozen yogurt.
I was almost considering we do something weird like that, but yeah. I don't think it seems to violate the spirit of the debate.
Yeah.
What would a third default flavor? Because I think it can't be one that utilizes chocolate or vanilla.
What if it's just plain old mint?
I don't know if I've ever had a non-chocolate chip mint ice cream.
It's because it's bad. They know that no one will buy it.
Right.
How about cotton candy? I feel like that's the only other flavor that comes to mind that anyone would ever use as a base.
Cotton candy is the third default. Why not? Fucking ridiculous.
Some may argue it's even worse than strawberry being the third default.
Some would probably be, because at least with strawberry you can make the argument it's found in like Neapolitan or something.
Is Neapolitan specifically because it's the three default flavors and that's what put it together, or is there some deeper meaning behind that flavor?
See, I'm wondering if this is like a chicken and the egg scenario where are those three in Neapolitan because they're the defaults, or are those three the defaults because they're in Neapolitan?
It's impossible to say. We'll never find an answer.
No one could possibly figure this out.
Yeah. I feel like we've come to a general consensus, though.
I don't.
I think we're all like complete opposite heads of this discussion. None of us agree on anything.
We've reached a stalemate. Strawberry estate.
We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
An old strawberry standoff.
Yeah.
Speaking of standoffs,
there's no fucking way we can go into the movies already. We need at least one more fucking topic here, potentially even two.
Tanner, what do you mean by what would a stat check movie be?
So, are we all familiar with the concept of a stat check.
I could wager, I guess, but like, tell me what you mean in this context.
Yeah.
So in video games, typically like MOBAs is where I mostly hear it, or fighting games, although less so that. A stat check character is a character in which there's no really room for them to outplay you or you to outplay them. It is purely, do their stats beat yours to win them the fight. So it's just kind of like, you bash yourselves into each other. There's no skill involved at all. And then you see who comes out on top. And so I was kind of thinking, are there movies that are like stat check movies, as in like you would take, like let's say we show it to Dylan to see if he gets it,
Happiness.
Happiness, I agree, it's probably a stat check movie. Yeah, I imagine a stat check movie is essentially a movie where it can reliably let you gauge a person's, I hate the fucking phrase media literacy nowadays, but I'm gonna use it because it's appropriate. But please, audience, know I hate the way this phrase gets fucking used nowadays.
You've become the very thing you sought to destroy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a really obvious one. Midnight Cowboy. You illiterate fucks. Figure it out.
That's a pretty solid choice, honestly.
I think you could maybe make an argument for the end of Evangelion as well.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
I could
going
agree
on
with that. I mean, to give a little sneak peek to tonight, is Mandy a stat check movie? I kind of think it is, guys.
I don't think
know if I'd say
so. I feel like Mandy is very much so either more of like you either love it or you hate it sort of movie,
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very artsy movie. I can absolutely see where people that really like movies could, have some real like meat to dig into just in like the presentation and the cinematography and all that. But there's also like a lot of just objective flaws, and I think that you can't really look at it as a stack check because of that.
Are there any movies we've seen where they are stat check movies and we have failed them?
I don't know. Would we know that? I feel like there's probably been some movies where I'm like, I don't fucking know what's going on with this shit, but I think it's cool.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Is No Country for Old Men a stat check movie?
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah. Because it's a really simple movie on the surface, but there's a ton to dig into if you look at it more, I don't want to say metaphorically, but if you just like dig deeper into what it's trying to say. I'm glad that Dylan figured it out. He beat the stat check eventually.
I feel like some could definitely argue that Irreversible is one that we failed.
That pisses me off so much, but maybe you're right. I'm not gonna admit anything here, but
I'm with Nico on that one too. I rated that movie a D+, and that was pretty generous because I think there is absolutely a lot to grasp onto with that movie, but also it's just like so boring, and there's just that one part, and there's drags it down a lot. But you could also look at it not like super blatantly like we did, and try to look at it more from like an art piece perspective.
Yeah,
like you can look at like a horrible piece of like horrible in the sense of like something horrible being depicted, and still think it's like tragically beautiful, things like that. And I could see people looking at it Irreversible that way. Plenty of people do, frankly.
True. Parasite is probably a stat check movie.
Yeah, Midsummer I'd argue is also one.
Midsummer.
Yeah, maybe. There's the problem with Midsummer is that it is a simple movie, and also all the things it's like alluding to are also really simple and shown very blatantly. Like the start of the fucking movie when they're like walking past all that shit. Maybe it's just because we have the level of media literacy to understand that, but it's all so fucking obvious and blatant that it's hard to assume that somebody would just miss that and just be like, this is fucking kind of boring and average.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to kind of flip this idea on its head here real quick. Is there anything that's like, I don't know what the fuck we'd refer to as like the opposite of a stat check movie, but like a movie where, okay, if someone likes this, then not to like take anything they say seriously, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Where like the entertainment value is so low, I guess, and so like just base level that
Rio 2.
Rio. I would agree with Rio too. It's kind of like lowest common denominator films.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, these films do exist. I don't know how many of the ones that we've seen like truly fall in that.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Jurassic World Dominion is absolutely one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say the Power Rangers one is one of those.
Movie
Films.
43. The comedy of that one is so low brow and everything is so low effort. It's hard to.
True. I don't know. I don't see it as like the same sort of thing as the other ones we've mentioned.
I guess because it's not really trying to like take itself.
I want to eat your pancreas.
No. I think there's a decent chance that you and I, Nico, just really fucking missed the mark on that one. Given we are like very much contrarians in our opinion towards it.
I think those are the only ones we've seen that like really scream to me.
Yeah, probably.
Like no one should like this unless they're retarded, you know?
Unless they just like seeing fancy lights.
Actually, I'm gonna throw The Notebook in there, fuck you.
Yeah, there we go. All chick flicks.
What about people that don't have our morals, aka fucking people that don't care for cheating?
Apparently they're way into it, man.
I guess so. All women.
Yeah.
It jazzes them up, dude. It gets their jimmies rustled.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies?
Speaking of movies, I suppose it's time that we discuss some movies ourselves, and not just ones we've seen previously, but ones that we just saw previously. Over on Guapish at the Movies.
Guapish at the Movies, Born to Be Wild. I don't think that song was in Mandy, but it feels like it should have been.
I don't know, I feel like Mandy goes for like more droney songs than that one. That feels like too classic of rock for Mandy.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I just didn't understand that.
Yeah, maybe you just didn't get it, dude.
Our Patreon request. God damn it, Tony, you fucked up my transition! Our Patreon request this week was the 2010 film I Spit on Your Grave, as requested by Lava Skin. And this is, of course, a very simple to describe movie. We have a writer who went out to stay in a cabin in the woods for a few months to, I guess, write and have a space to write. And she gets raped by a bunch of fucking hillbillies. And then she murders them all in horrific fashion. And that's basically the movie. There isn't a whole lot to describe.
My haiku, as inspired by I Spit on Your Grave. Writer in the woods. Lackadaisical rapists. Boring revenge plot. This is a whole genre of movie, by the way. The woman who is a writer in the woods and is either raped or attacked or whatever. There's... Oh my god, there's so many of these fucking movies, dude. It's ridiculous.
Women love their revenge fantasies, dude.
They also love getting raped in the woods.
True.
That's a joke, that's a joke, that's a joke.
But yeah, my overarching thought is this shit is boring and cringingly indulgent.
Yeah, I could see
also,
that.
the acting is bad. The acting is so bad.
The acting is not
God.
particularly good in this movie, no.
Yeah, this is not a good movie. It is... The start of it is very slow. It takes a while for things to actually happen. There's a lot of just wasted fucking time and the character acting really stupid. Of course, you know, there's the really long extended scenes of her being assaulted that really just don't need to take place for that long. You know,
Yeah, they're literally so long that you stop caring.
Yeah, it's like, we get the fucking point after the first time, and then it just keeps going on for like another 20 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Dude, you need to understand what she went through, though, man. You need to be there every step of the way so that you can understand why she wants revenge.
These writers have no idea what the word subtlety means. Anyways, of course, then we have the second half of this movie. I don't even know if it's like a clean 50-50 split or not, on like which side it takes place more. But, you know, we have the other part of the story, that being her revenge plot, which is insanely unrealistic and stupid, and they just completely give up on even trying for like realistic setups at all in the end, just to like make cool set pieces. It's like the writers were like, okay, we want to have a revenge story of some chick that got raped, and we have these ideas for like fun torture methods, and they just like do them in the dumbest, cheesiest ways possible, with terrible acting, really boring cinematography, horrible fucking lighting.
Oh my fucking god, yeah, the lighting is awful in this film.
It's just a very poorly made movie. I legitimately have nothing positive to say about it, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it has this like insanely muted palette that just makes the whole thing feel really fucking flat and so boring and uninteresting to look at. And also, the fucking color grading is super inconsistent as well. Like, there are scenes where like the cop fucking drives up in his car, and his car is just fucking glowing. It is so fucking bright. It's very weird. Also, I don't know if you guys really noticed this or not, but it's almost a similar issue to a Serbian film where there are just zero extras whatsoever in this film. The only people...
it's literally just them. It's so weird.
To be fair, it's out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
But, like, still, there's no one. There's the fucking shop owner, and then there's the rapist and her, and I guess the guy's family. But, and everything else, like, even they went to, like, a fucking park, and there's no one there. No other cars in the street or anything. It's a fucking ghost town.
Yeah. It just makes the whole thing feel so fucking desolate and empty.
Which I guess is what you could do, is putting you in the headspace of the woman, because she's feeling really desolate and empty as well.
There we go. It all comes
Never mind,
together.
This movie's brilliant, dude.
This movie's
Holy
so
shit.
deep, actually.
Why are movies that are, like, very specifically aimed at women so bad?
I'm not gonna comment on that in fear of people I know watching this episode.
Genuinely, is there a movie made for a primarily female audience that is not, like, abject dog shit?
Dude,
I'm sure there's plenty, but I can't think of any.
from what I've heard, Black Swan is pretty good.
Okay, that's fair enough. Isn't that about, like, fucking nuclear missiles, though?
I have no fucking idea what that movie is about.
Chicks eat that shit up, though. They love nuclear missiles.
All I know is that it's what it's been pitched to me as is American Psycho for women.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that one now. I've heard the phrase a Black Swan event,
Okay.
but I don't know anything about Black Swan, so I only have a vague idea of what that phrase means based on context.
I think it's a famous play.
Oh, are these two different things?
I think so.
Never mind, you're probably wrong, and that's dog shit too.
Okay.
Oh well.
Anyways.
I will give the film one positive here. I do think it does a pretty successful job at building atmosphere early on. I feel like it was able to make things feel pretty tense when the guys like initially show up and stuff, but, you know, doesn't really do much with that, unfortunately, so it kind of squanders it. Also, I will say here, okay, there's one other big complaint for myself that I want to get out of the way here real quick. So, like, I know that, like, something that Tanner will probably want to argue here is that, like, she's a woman, how's she taking care of all these fucking guys? Which I don't fucking mind that, you know, like, she's generally, like, knocking them out when they're, like, off guard and, like, using tools and shit like that to do it. So I don't really mind. It's not like she's physically overpowering them or performing, like, these touch of death combos and ripping their hearts out of their chests or anything like that, you know? I don't mind that at all. But... like, the moment she, like, comes back after getting raped and everything and starts, like, executing her plan, it's all just too easy. There's never a moment where, like, she isn't completely in control of these situations or, like, you know, really struggling whatsoever. It just makes it feel like, okay, I guess the rest of the film is just us watching these guys get horribly tortured and then murdered. Which, you know, fair enough, they deserve it, but also, it doesn't really make it exciting to watch.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when I said that it's like, don't even try for setups later on, too. It's like, the girl's fucking god in this world, basically. How the fuck did she become the, like, teacher or something?
Right, how the fuck did that happen? Where's the logistics of that?
That makes no fucking sense.
I assume she just showed up and said, hey, I'm the new teacher. And the mom believed it.
And the kid was going crazy for it. And then she takes the kid to a park, the kid just disappears, and then she waits, I guess, like, she's hiding behind some fucking tree for the guy to drive to the park, and then she goes into his car, and then, what the fuck? It's so stupid. The movie just had no fucking idea how she was gonna fucking incapacitate this cop, so they're like, this is the best thing we've got, and it's stupid.
Yeah,
the only thing I was gonna say, the only thing that's potentially positive, I will say, the shit she's doing to the guys is pretty creative. The dunking the guy in the fucking acid, sticking a gun up his ass. If it wasn't so goddamn cheesy and she was, like, trying to make them feel the same thing she did and, like, making, like, parallels to her torture to what she's doing to them, I could see why people would like that. I just think it's fucking cheesy, especially with their stupid one-liners.
I was
the
about
entire
to say
thing.
the fucking one-liners are awful.
It is. It's so hard. It's like you can't take it seriously at all. Like, I want to fucking root for this chick, but like, don't say that. Don't fucking be like, yeah, you like taking up the ass too, huh? Oh, shut up. It's just rough. But yeah, the way they set up the traps is creative. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Well, what did Dylan think of this movie?
All right, next up here, I've got I Spit on Your Grave. Oh boy, this was a real rough movie to watch. Both on the front end and the tail end. At the beginning of the movie was just super uncomfortable. Really didn't feel like watching. Obviously, this isn't the most offensive or like worst movie we've ever watched, but I think given like the setting, and just the vibe that this movie has in comparison to those other ones, it's still pretty intense given what happened. But, you know, as far as it, you know, setting the environment, the acting, both of those were pretty good. The cinematography, I'm not great at judging that, but from what I could tell, it wasn't too bad in this movie. I thought it was pretty good. And, you know, this movie did a really good job at making me uncomfortable. It sounds like it made you guys uncomfortable as well, but I guess that'll be left to be heard for me at least. And then, cause it's weird because the middle is almost kind of boring, and it's sandwiched in between two intensely awkward, and I use awkward very loosely, situations where they're both intense in their own ways. And then the tail end, I like how that she gave all the guys ironic deaths in comparison to basically reflect what happened at the beginning of the movie, in a, I guess you could say, sadistic sort of way. It is poetic. But yeah, I think sheerly based on the fact that I did not enjoy this movie for what it was, but didn't find anything else necessarily wrong with it, and just thought it was overall just pretty alright, I'm gonna give I Spit on Your Grave a C-.
Wow,
Holy
listen to that
shit.
guy. I'm sure he gave it a very low rating. Speaking of ratings,
Hey, you didn't let me actually say the thing you accused me of wanting to say.
fine, go for it, Tanner.
I'd say for how many guys are there? There's 4.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 of them, I'm like, how the fuck did she even pull that off? The one guy she hits with, like, a wrench or whatever, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
She's fucking, like, taking these guys out with a fucking baseball bat or whatever. Cavemen were
A
using that
baseball
shit to
bat would
murder
not-
each other back
a
in the
woman
day.
swinging
I
a
think that
baseball
it's
bat
totally
would not
fine
knock
for her
you
to
out.
knock them out, especially when they're caught off guard, okay? Like, people fucking take a single punch and then fall to the ground and instantly die sometimes, Tanner.
take a
like,
single
when you're
punch
dealing
from a
with shit with the
man and
head,
instantly
I think it's
die.
perfectly fine.
No, I completely disagree, and you're wrong. Especially with
I
the
hate
cop,
women.
like,
They're so weak. How is a woman ever supposed to incapacitate a man? It's about, like, look at her. She's so scrawny. Look at her
I
little
am
arms. I could
spitting
smoke
fucking
them little
facts.
arms.
You're the one coping here. You're living in fantasy land.
Yeah, you're living in some land where women are incapable of doing anything.
Dude, you literally cannot win this argument. I'm just speaking
I'm just
empirical
stating facts here that women are literally not able to do anything against men.
Yes, correct. That's a factual statement, dude. That is just factual. I mean, they could do something against you,
Yeah.
but like a normal man, you know?
This is the funniest, most condescending conversation I've ever heard you guys have. This is fucking great.
Especially the cop is hard to believe. Like, what the? That's not. She would not have the arm strength or the leverage to fucking choke him out with a wire from the backseat of a car.
She
Why
didn't
is the
choke.
cop
She
car-
didn't choke
Hold
him
on.
out with the wire. She just bashed his head.
Oh, wait, that makes even less sense then. Oh my gosh.
She didn't have enough fucking swinging room to get in like a big
Exactly.
high
And also,
velocity
don't cop
hit.
cars have a fucking partition between the front and the back seats?
Not this one.
They live in a small town, dude. They ain't gonna deal with any violent criminals.
They can't afford those fucking partitions, man. They defunded the police. I gave this one an F+. This movie fucking sucks.
I'm not far off from you. I gave it a D-.
I'm the lowest on this movie. I gave it an F.
Holy
a flat
fuck.
F.
And Dylan, despite how much he hated this movie, gave it a C-. He's the highest on it.
Oh,
Asinine. I'm hoping he.
I fucking called it, didn't I?
I hope he looks back on this ranking and says, "Man, That's fucking stupid. This is horrible. Anyways, that puts it at a D- overall. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Nico's pick this week, and by Nico I mean Tanner's pick this week, was the 2003 film Elf. Take us away.
That's right, guys. Elf is about a human who gets kidnapped by Santa Claus, and he's raised by elves, and then he goes to discover his human father, and hilarity ensues. My haiku, as inspired by Elf: human in Elf world tries to find his real dad and found Christmas spirit.
Unpopular opinion, Zooey Deschanel is an absolute hottie.
With 3 spikes for... Anyway, that's a wildly popular opinion, in fact.
No fucking
Is she still around and doing shit?
Maybe.
Okay.
There's a chance.
I think this is a delightful film. I have seen this fucking dozens upon dozens of times, and I very intentionally have avoided watching it the last couple of years because I was fucking sick of it, and I'm very glad I did that, because being able to go into it with sort of a fresh pair of eyes, untainted by how many times I had seen it already, made me really be able to appreciate how funny and heartfelt this film is.
Yeah. It's definitely quite the little romp, you know. I unfortunately have very little to say about it outside of I think that Zooey Deschanel is very much so cutie, and I'm very sad that she's 44 years old apparently. I wish that she was 20 years younger so that I would have a chance of maybe meeting her somewhere on an astronomically low odds. But a boy can dream, right? A boy can dream.
44 is crazy, dude. There's no way that's true.
How the fuck was she born in 1980?
Jackson, your thoughts?
About Zooey Deschanel? Oh, man. What do I have to fucking say that hasn't been said already? About this movie? Yeah, no, I think it's cute. I think it's a fun time. I am with you, Tanner. I definitely came into this movie kind of expecting it to just be boring and dumb. But it has a lot of personality to it. The fucking main character is pretty annoying for the most part, but also he has his funny moments. I think the writers do a good job putting the characters in entertaining scenarios, and they just do a lot of creative things in general. There's some funny one big gags, like them being the fucking Sasquatch or the stupid shit going on in the mailroom. There's just a lot of charming, funny things that happen. And I'm not really the type of guy that likes comedies, but this worked on me. There was a lot of just genuinely funny things. I think the ending was pretty fucking cheesy and dumb. I don't really care for that. But I think it's a charming movie. Okay,
actually, Jackson, you just completely reminded me of, my biggest issue with this film, and also many Christmas films, for that matter, okay?
Obviously, there's some sort of, suspension of disbelief you need to have with Christmas films when it's a lot of people think Santa doesn't exist, despite, the very obvious evidence that he, in fact, does. But, that fact plays such a major role in this movie that it pissed me off that they didn't try to address it any sort of way whatsoever. Fucking Santa Claus having this big ol' issue where, not enough people believe in me, so, I can't fly my shitty-ass fucking sleigh, despite the fact that how else do those presents get under the trees? They don't try to explain this at all. For some reason, the adults are just maybe just some aunts or uncles, their grandparents got those from and signed them as Santa, I guess. Who knows? How the fuck else did they get there? Huh?
I do have a slight counter argument.
It's a fun Christmas movie, fuck you.
Did they say that the sleigh was specifically powered by belief in Santa Claus or by Christmas spirit?
I believe they stated Christmas spirit, but, fucking, the kid was like, well, why don't you just, go out there and we can show them all you're real? Well, it's not about that. It's about, believing. It's not about seeing, or whatever,
We do have conflicting information. You are absolutely right. I love Christmas, though. I just like Christmas, guys.
Yeah. Also, another thing, for the most part, the cinematography and everything was fine in this movie, but every now and then it was, weirdly really fucking bad for some reason. One of the times that comes to mind is, when they just finished the snowball fight and are about to, go back home. For some reason, it's just, some fucking, handheld shaky camera or whatever the fuck. I don't know why they chose to do that, but...
It makes it feel so real,
yeah.
Dude.
It's something that just stood out a lot to me every now and then. It's why the fuck are they doing that? But I also like this movie, despite all my bitching about it. What did Dylan think about it, though, guys?
Yeah, I remember this movie fondly from when I was a child. I was trying to figure out the line at which either this movie is just cringe or funny. Unfortunately, it falls in the trap of I like Will Ferrell's style of comedy. And I think this movie memes on itself enough to where I don't think it's trying to be dumb. Well, let me take that back. It's trying to be dumb intentionally. It's just doing it in a way to make us as the audience kind of look at it and, think. I don't really even know. No, this movie's a fun time all around, though. Touching story. Just some good old laughs. It's nothing great. I don't think this movie's too awfully offensive in anything that it does. You got the mayor from Godzilla, from 1998's Godzilla. He's here. You got the new girl from New Girl or whatever. Her name's Jess or something. I don't know. There was some other person in here I was gonna recall, but I can't remember at this point. But yeah, I particularly enjoyed this movie. It's probably the best movie I watched this week. And much like a lot of the other movies I watched, I couldn't find too much fault in this. I'm sure you guys will pick this one apart. But I'm gonna give this movie an A- personally. Sorry in advance.
Wow, he apparently noticed a lot of celebrities in this movie, not a lot else. Oh well.
Based?
Holy shit. But speaking of Dylan, he gave an A-.
Whoa, I gave it a B+.
Wow. Dude, I also gave it a B+. Tanner, you?
Dude, I gave it an S-.
Oh my god. He really loved this movie.
Bro, enjoyed
Dude, it's
Elf.
do you know how impressive it is to make a Christmas classic post fucking 1960?
I think it's pretty easy. I have a little film called Fred Claus that I think you'd like to check out sometime.
I have a little film called Bad Santa I think you should check out.
What's the one that fucking Lucas requested?
Santa with muscles.
Yeah.
I hope we get that one for Christmas in July.
Yeah.
Be funny. Anyways, that lands Elf at an A- overall.
There we go. A solid ranking
Fantastic.
for a solid Christmas film.
True, it's a cute little romp, what can I say?
Yeah.
Nico's pick of the week was the 2018 film Mandy. What the fuck? Go on.
God
Tell us
damn, how
about
the
it.
fuck am I gonna describe what happens in this movie?
It's such a simple plot, though.
fair
I
enough.
feel like it is kind of straightforward.
Yeah, so we've got Nicolas Cage, he's a lumberjack, and he's married to his girl Mandy, okay? They're just a couple of weirdos who live out in the woods. But one day when Mandy's out and about, a fucking cult snatches her up, and they're like, hey, we think you're an absolute baddie. We're gonna drug you up and have you have sex with our leader now. But Mandy doesn't want to do that. She just laughs at his tiny little penis, to which he murders her for. And Nicolas Cage witnesses the whole ass thing, to which he goes on a fucking rampage and kills all the cult members and their demons and such.
Dude, my haiku as inspired by Mandy. Flower child cult. Demon bikers burn Nick's wife. Revenge killing spree. Okay. I had this thought. It appeared to me in a dream. I want to see how much you guys do or do not agree with this take.
Think about this. Nicolas Cage, he's a Christ figure.
No, not that. So this, I was remarking all week that I was having a lot of consternation over this film.
Yeah.
And I think I've come to the conclusion that this is either a good movie, very convincingly disguised as a bad movie, or a bad movie convincingly disguised as a good movie. Would you guys, what are your guys' thoughts on that theory?
I think there is more nuance than that, so I disagree. I think you can... I mean, I'm just going to be honest.
The basic concept is accurate?
I think there's a lot this movie does well. I think there's a lot this movie does poorly. And I think it's very easy to have a straight down the middle ranking. And like I said, I'm going to be honest. I have a pretty straight down the middle ranking for this movie. Because it's like a balancing act of cool things and bad things for me. Yeah, you go ahead on that topic, Nico, I guess.
I think it was a pretty good movie for the most part, you know? I think that Mandy was an enjoyable time.
Personally, I didn't enjoy it that much. I thought it was pretty fucking boring. I think there are some cool things they're doing. You know, they've obviously the colors and just the general presentation of this film is probably the most striking thing that would make people under the illusion there's more depth to this, but it's a pretty simple story for the most part. It's just some fucking guy and his traumatized wife. She gets killed and he goes on a revenge tear. There's a lot more going on under the scenes. Obviously, there's a lot going on with the setting of this film that for some reason, I watched a few reviews of this movie because I just wanted to get like a fucking test of the waters and what other people that were positive about this movie were thinking about it. And none of them addressed the setting at all. They're all pretty straightforward with what the plot was going on. Even though there's demons, there's some fucking planets in the sky. Obviously, the weird lighting. There's some maybe some religious in real life undertones things. Who knows? There's a lot of crazy shit going on with the setting. It's kind of like Evangelion in that way, except this movie does it poorly because it doesn't actually work with the setting really, except for really basic things. You could almost ignore the setting and just have it be a totally realistic, down-to-earth movie in some regards, without some really minor supernatural shit going on, like him throwing a fucking knife at that guy and him not dying, or his fucking car getting flipped over when he hits the guy. Everything else is pretty realistic for the most part. And it's just really fucking slow-paced and boring.
I mean, so, the first half or so of the film is, a pretty slow burn, okay? We're setting up these characters of Nicolas Cage and Mandy. We're seeing their tender little relationship that, over the course of the rest of the half of the film, gets ripped away from them rather violently. And then Nicolas Cage is now thrust into this world of fucking drugs and demons and violence, okay? Which really, helps set up the high-octane action that we experience in the latter half, which I think that, for the most part, is very well done at that. Now, I do think that there are scenes during that first half that perhaps drag on a bit too long.
Dude, I like that scene where the fucking cult leader is face-to-face with the chick while she's high as balls, and the entire frame is just his face for 5 minutes while he's giving a speech.
That may have been the exact scene I was thinking of. But even during those moments, they do have some fucking cool shit going on. During that part specifically, the fucking cult leader's talking to her, and there are these really cool effects going on where his face is constantly fucking warping and changing. It looks like sometimes it fucking becomes her face, for example, and he'll be speaking but his mouth won't be moving. A bunch of shit like that I think is pretty sweet. So at the very least, even during the slower and more boring moments, the film is still a visual masterpiece, as it were. It's very stunning, and like Jackson said previously, it has fantastic colors and lighting, cinematography all around, comes together into a very nice, ethereal, atmospheric package at the end of the day, which, even during the moments where things ain't quite as good, you at least have some eye candy to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm gonna dub this genre art house schlock. It's tastefully done bullshit, basically.
Yeah.
Because the plot is it's very straightforward. It's you got these villains, you got the cult, you got demons, and then you got Nicolas Cage, and he's gonna murder them horrifically.
Yeah.
But then with the cinematography and the colors and the drug stuff and whatever, they artsy fartsy it up for you.
It makes it very surreal, it fucking. Well, it could just be this very boring, gray, muted sort of color scheme that we're going for. Something akin to I don't know, The Raid. But no, of course, they make it actually a feast for the eyes and make you not fucking want to fall asleep just looking at it.
Yeah, but the action sucked in this movie, and the action in The Raid was kind of cool.
Dude, the action in this movie was cool, though. Do you see that fucking chainsaw fight when that guy just fucking walks around the corner and busts out a massive chainsaw to fight with?
Yeah, that shit was pretty fucking goofy. I did not take it very seriously at all.
That shit was cool as fuck. You're crazy, dude.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like really any of the action in this film, to be completely honest. I was pretty indifferent to it overall. Mostly just because of the suspension of disbelief. But they don't really set up our main character as the supreme badass. He is unfortunately the supreme badass, though, as it turns out, which kind of came as a shock. To my knowledge, he was just some fucking regular dude living in the forest, but now he's combat trained and knows how to make fucking weapons and shit. Which it didn't really seem like they set his character up very well, given the runtime. It mostly seemed like they were trying to show some trauma shit going on with his wife and not really anything about himself, even though he's the primary focus of this movie. Pretty strange, and it kind of just puts a bad taste in my mouth personally.
Okay, but Jackson, you at least have to admit that, like, Nicolas Cage's performance was pretty good in this movie, right?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think the acting overall is pretty good. I think one of the scenes that's really easy to take away that was really well done is just the fucking scene of him in the bathroom. I think just his general reaction to his wife dying was really well done. Like him walking into the fucking house and there's that catharsis of just that stupid commercial playing. That shit like that happens all the fucking time, where something really fucked up happens in your life, just something really horrible, and then obviously the world keeps fucking spinning, nothing's stopping for you, and you'll just see something that's like completely out there. And that's definitely happened to me many times. So it was a pretty relatable scene. I thought that was pretty well done.
Yeah, what's the saying? Life is a dark comedy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff like that in this movie. There's like little subtle things that are like really well done overall, just in terms of like the performances and the way they produce them. But also just the plot is so fucking thin and it's so slow, and there's very little to grasp onto outside of that. Like there's like little moments of success within this film for me with some cool visuals, but primarily it's just really slow and boring.
I completely forgot about goblin cheese, but I'm very happy I was just reminded of it.
I'm glad to help.
Yeah. That was actually done by the same dude who did some shit for Adult Swim, I think.
Yeah, I could
Makes
see
sense.
it.
Yeah.
What did Dylan think about it, though?
Boy, where do I start with this movie? Yeah, that's kind of all I got. This movie's really slow, kind of boring. The plot is kind of just whatever. It took me, and I get this a lot, so it might have just been me. It took me to like the end of the movie to realize what this group of people were. I think there was that part in the middle where Nicolas Cage went to visit his one friend who lived in the trailer, and his friend in the trailer told him who they were, but even then I was still kind of like, I don't get what's going on. Yeah, the plot's not very straightforward. Everything's jumbled up. There's a lot of fade to black cuts in this movie at really unnecessary places. And there was one time I remember in the beginning of the movie where it was a fade to black just to like pop back into a scene for 30 seconds to fade to black again. So I would say that fade to black is a little overused in this movie. Aside from that, the plot, I'm going to go back to the plot. It's not super cohesive. I don't think the acting is good enough in this movie to save it from what it was. And on top of that, it's a 2-hour movie. Not saying that's a long time, but based on how boring this was and literally wanted to occupy my mind doing anything else watching this, does not send a good message. I remember talking to Jackson. He said he remembered that the movie got better about the 2/3 mark. He said the 2/3 mark was pretty enjoyable, which at that point, that is most certainly a death for most movies. The last 2/3 of the movie was better than the rest of the movie. The action was kind of serviceable, but like at the end of the day, I wasn't really able to interpret what was going on. I'm sure that the point of this movie is to be left to interpretation. I'm sure you guys might have you guys are either gonna have a really long discussion about this, or my review is going to be longer than all of your guys combined. So yeah, not super crazy about this movie. There's just so much in this movie that didn't make sense. It was boring. It was slow. This movie just did not have a whole lot going for it, and because of that, because I mentioned in the chat that this movie was dumb, I gave it a D because this movie is dumb.
Wow, he fucking hated it. He thought it was
fucking dumbass. I hate that guy.
He thought it was even worse than I Spit on Your Grave, apparently.
Actually insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, unhinged opinion.
By the way, shocked you haven't mentioned this at all yet. This film is an awesome soundtrack as well, by the way. It has like that intense rock music and also the immersive synth. Fantastic all around. No notes for that. That's my ranking for it, though. I thought it was a very good movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It does obviously have its flaws as well, though, so I think I'm going to be giving it a B.
Yeah, I easily like this the best of all of it, all of us. I agree, a bit too slow of a burn at the beginning for me, but I am heavily biased towards movies that have exciting and engaging endings, and this has that in fucking spades. So I ended up giving this one an A-.
He just fucking crushes that guy's skull. I'm your god now!
Yeah.
Dylan gave it a D. I don't know if that was said. Did you say that? I'm not fucking. I can't. If you
Dylan
said that,
gave it a D.
Yeah.
Dylan gave it a D.
He did.
I thought you were reacting to like you had said his rank already. And you're like, you dumbass! I just said that.
No.
Yeah, no. D is crazy for this movie.
He's insane. I haven't listened to his review, but like fucking, there's no way.
I haven't either.
He just thinks it's boring,
still,
basically.
my review is still pretty harsh as well. I could see myself pretty easily increasing this in the future, but right now I've got it as a C+.
Well, there we go. We have a different rank. What am I trying to say right now?
There are 4 wolves inside of you. How much do they like Mandy?
This is a divisive film. Who knew?
Wow. Where's it landed, Jackson?
Oh yeah, that's probably important. That landed at a B- overall.
Wow.
Holy shit. I
That's
can
crazy.
accept that, to be honest.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
It's whatever.
Well, speaking of whatever, so Dylan's pick for this week is Head of State in light of recent events.
Is this that movie about a monkey becoming president?
Huh? You should have picked the one where it's like that guy defending Obama.
Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't fucking.
Or White House Down. Who knows? In one of those, the president was white.
Yeah. There was a specific movie I wanted to pick, but I just completely forgot what it was.
Dude, just pick Wolf Children again.
Yeah, let's watch one more time, baby. Right back to it. No. Dude, let's pick a really out there one, Let's pick the fucking first Harry Potter film.
Oh, okay.
I've
based?
I've never seen the Harry Potter films. I mean, I have in like really small snippets. I don't know much about the Harry Potter universe. I've never read the books. It feels like it's like Disney for me too, because I never really watched many Disney movies growing up, despite what my parents say. And I also never really read or watched anything about Harry Potter, but it's like a cultural phenomenon, so I feel like I've missed out on something for my entire life, and I want to know what it is. And specifically, it's like later on in the series, there's one scene where they're like going through a maze, and there's like the vines of the maze will fucking grab him and like suck him under and kill him. I think that shit's metal as fuck. I want to know more about this universe. So I'm picking the first one. I don't know what year it is.
It is a 2001 film.
Whoa.
Jackson, thank you much for playing along with Christmas in July, because hot take, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is a Christmas film.
Whoa.
I wouldn't know.
Wasn't this originally called then The Philosopher's Stone?
Yeah, but Americans don't know what that is, so they changed it.
Okay, that's
They should have
fine.
called it the Rosetta Stone.
Oh yeah, we
even
should also
less
probably
sense.
roll the Patreon, by the way.
That'd be helpful. Let's see what we get. Okay, we're getting the 2015 film Be My Cat, a film for Anne, as requested by Mistake. Thank you for the awesome request. This is an old one. I think this is the second oldest request in our queue right now.
Yeah.
I think you're correct, and I don't think any of us know anything about this film. The title alone scares me.
I'm pretty
The
sure
thumbnail's pretty fucked up looking too.
I'm pretty sure I know what this film is. I might be thinking of a different one though, so who the fuck knows? I believe Anne Hathaway is who that refers to. But I guess we'll see, And
Is
if
this
you
gonna be some... Sorry. Is this gonna be some schizo shit?
yes, to my knowledge it is absolutely schizo shit. And if you too would like to request a movie for the Patreon, then Tanner's gonna tell you all about how you can do that.
If you go on over to patreon.com/Guapish and subscribe for only $1 a month, you will get early access to every episode as well as exclusive access to our pre-Guap show. You also get access to our Discord server where you can, have little chats with us, request topics, and request movies just like Jacob Edwards did today. And you also get 500 slime coin, and you get your name read out at the end of every episode, just like I'm about to do. Thank you very much to our patrons, Slayed by Jay, Blake, Netagant, Uranium Infused Motor Skills, Top Ramen Man, Joshua Bean, Smegma Smoothie, Tutbot, Lucas Ledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards.
Woo! And thank you very much for watching. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring a ding 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 that bell, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.